we are reunited
Hello,
again,
we're
back
back.
together. Muscle Science
I
for
feel like
Women, the way you know and love it with Ashley and
it's
Rachel.
been too long. It's
I
been
know
too
it.
long.
Well, listen, lots has been going on for both of us, really. So
Yeah,
I think our listeners will
lots of
forgive
life.
us. Yeah, lots of life. And we decided that today we would have a kind of different podcast than normal. We're going to take a break from answering people's questions. There's plenty of questions still in the
hmm
email, and we will get to them. And we thank you for doing that. But you've been really sort of forthcoming with a lot of the stuff that's been going on with you lately and some of the crazy life changes you've been making, and have been really sharing some very like poignant, I think, real and vulnerable and helpful stuff on your in your newsletter. So I
hmm
thought maybe we could just like talk about that um, in the podcast
Yeah,
today, and then maybe we can end up talking about a couple other things like our new program and stuff like that. But
yeah.
how do you want to start? I mean, first of all, you're in New York. You've come back to the left coast. You've come back to the east side, which is
I'm
the best side.
literally sitting in the room that I grew up in.
It's good
Like
though.
this
I've been
is
there.
my
It's a
bedroom. Yeah,
listen, there listen, if you have
turned
to
office.
go back home, oh, there you go. Your note taker is coming. There you go. Um,
What?
we've got we've got some admin stuff going on.
Ouch.
Anyway, if you have to go home, that's a pretty sweet home to go back to. I've
Yeah,
been at your place in New York. It's pretty great. How is being uh like well, I guess where do you want to start?
yeah.
Your story. Where do
I
you want to
think
start?
I think just a quick recap for anybody who's not on my newsletter or follows me on social media, and maybe just listens to the podcast. I'm happy to just share like a quick um, summary of like what's happened. I
Hmm.
feel like I'm at a point now where I'm accepting of the new trajectory of my life. So it's been probably, I don't know, 2 months since a month since like I can't believe it's almost been a month, maybe like 3.5 weeks since I got here ish.
Mm.
Since I left San Diego, so probably like a little bit a month and a half, month and a half, 2 months since I've kind of like just been working through a lot of this. So basically, long story short, ended up ending or my 11-year relationship slash engagement ended. Those of you who have listened to the podcast know that I was supposed to get married in December, was on the path to that. I was, in the beginning of the year, I was set out doing, you know, we kind of talked about like the body composition stuff and
Hmm.
I talked about finally like getting my dream body that I've been working so long for over the past, I don't know, 8+ years. And finally like came to a point where I was like, oh wow, like I feel like I hit it, right? Um, and then shit hit the fan on all the other sides of life,
Mm.
which is just also crazy to like think about too. Like I pushed myself so hard through a period of time from like the body composition standpoint and felt like the most confident I've ever felt in my body in my life. And then
Yeah.
like the a complete upheaval of my entire future,
Hmm.
like just disappeared
Yep.
in snap of fingers, felt like. So yeah, that was a lot. And I've been
Hmm.
working through a lot of different emotions with grief. I went through a period of just being on the emotional roller coaster, what I called it, before I left San Diego, for probably like 3 to 4 weeks, working through the end of the breakup, going through kind of all of those emotions, anger, depression, periods of acceptance,
Hmm.
lots of just anxiety of the unknown and kind of having the future that I thought I was going to have just completely gone. Um, so just a lot there. And that was the first time I've ever gone through grief. I've never lost anybody from like a death perspective, that's been close to me. I've never been in another relationship. Uh, I've been in this relationship since senior year of college, a few in high school, but like not the
Mhm.
same. So that was kind of a whole new experience. And then when I got to New York, there was like a whole secondary part of that, that came with just leaving my life in San Diego behind. Everything I knew from like sports to just like the life that I built there and Lilo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
That's
getting
hard.
emotional.
I know. And
So
listen,
yeah.
I'll just interject for a second while you take a
Yeah,
deep
please
breath
do.
because, first of all, thank you so much for sharing because it's obviously incredibly raw and deeply personal. And you don't have to share any of that. And the fact that you've decided to do that with people is really kind of you and really brave of you. So I appreciate you doing that. And I think a lot of your followers and a lot of our listeners appreciate that. And I think that one of the reasons why this kind of stuff is so meaningful for people is because we can all relate to it on some level or another. And this is why we decided this episode would be talking about grief and how it impacts health, because we got to always bring it back to the health side of things,
Mhm.
but also because every one of us has, and if you have made it to adulthood and you haven't yet, you're going to experience grief on some level or another. And it's important to maybe just think about it a little bit, maybe just try to understand some of the mechanisms behind it, because the people who listen to this podcast obviously care deeply about their health, and grief can really derail you. And I'm not just talking about, oh, it's like you're not going to stick to your diet anymore. Like it can do a lot
Mhm.
of things at a cellular level. And some of that stuff you just kind of can't control, and you can't control bad things that happen all the time. But just knowing sort of how your body may react to grief on certain levels can really help. So, anyway, thank you for sharing that. And for people who aren't subscribed to your newsletter like they should, because you've been sharing some stuff there, and I can just kind of just interject with a little like sad story of my own. Sorry, guys, this is a bummer. This is a bummer episode, but no, but I think that the purpose of this is a positive thing. So,
Yeah.
but my one of my kind of most poignant experiences with grief was when my stepfather, who I was very close to, who was basically my dad, passed away. He died from cancer a month before I got married, and he was sick for a few years. He was sick for a few years, and he was somebody who was an athlete, was this sort of like larger than life kind of figure in my life forever. I think I've mentioned on this podcast before that he and I ran 2 marathons together, which anybody who knows me knows I'm not a marathon gal,
Mhm.
but he was like a nationally ranked triple jumper. He was a track and field star. He was 6'6". He was this big, athletic guy, and he picked running a marathon with me. And I learned this sort of in retrospect as I get older, that he just wanted to do something with me. He just wanted to like spend time with me, and he decided to pick this challenge. We ended up running 2 marathons together. But all that to say, he was a wonderful man, and he got very sick, and we really thought maybe he'd stick around until the wedding, and he didn't, and he died just before the wedding. And that was a really serious, deeply intense and upsetting time in my life. And one thing, just again, bring it back to health. I remember that summer, I was living in Ottawa at the time, and he was in Nova Scotia, and I was flying back and forth to see him and see my family and stuff. And I remember the morning that he died, there were some other things going on there that I don't have to get into, but when I woke up in the morning and my mom called and told me that he had passed, the first thing that I did was, after I cried, was run to the corner store and buy a bunch of garbage and eat it. It's the first thing I
Yeah.
did because I needed something to not be in as much pain. And that's really how I
Mhm.
reacted. And a lot of times in like extreme stress or sadness, I won't eat. And I know a lot of people are like that. But for me, I was just like, I need something to like not feel like this
Yeah.
anymore.
Numb the pain. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's like a very like just clear example of how grief can just like immediately impact your health and the behaviors that impact your health, right?
Mhm.
Um, so anyway, we all have story. We all have story, and this isn't to like downplay anybody's story or whatever. We all, I'm just kind of sharing that we're all
Yeah,
in
no,
this, you
100%.
know, we're all experiencing sadness, and it's like kind of one of the not silver linings of having like a beautiful full life is that if you're here, you're going to experience some shit. And
Yeah.
how can we deal with it? And I've been so impressed. I mean, I'm not with you all the time and I'm not like in your head, but your response to this sort of heartbreak has been, from what I can sense, so healthy and so much trying to preserve your physical and mental health, right? And
Mhm.
try to um, be productive in a way of like, okay, well, if this is my new normal, what can I do to, you know, take care of
Yeah.
myself, which I think is just so important and not what a lot of people do. A lot of people go the other direction and are like, okay, how can I self-destruct for a while? You know? So
Yeah.
how do you feel like you were able to kind of take that approach?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just I've had kind of my core habits, in place for so long.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I chose the option of like self-destructing or, you know, stuffing my face with food to numb all the pain, which I've done in the past before for
Mm-hmm.
less serious things.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that I've definitely had some days where I'm like F it, I'll gonna go have a pint of ice cream or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that happened one time, but you know. Um, and I just kind of like knew how I felt after it, and I was like, this isn't me. I don't want to do this. I know that it's like a temporary numbness that you feel from that type of doing that type of thing. But I also think like the training side of it, that was something that I never experienced the actual physical, like not being able to physically train. Like through the time like the that it was happening like the 3 to 4 weeks that
Mm-hmm.
the breakup, it was kind of like a month period of time where initially happened. And um so like I was the one who got broken up with, so it was like the initial shock of that, the initial shock of the wedding, even like because we had been planning the wedding like 2 weeks before. And then so just like a whole just kind of like shock and working through that, and the effect that it had like on my nervous system. I never experienced that before. I literally like would try to go to the gym just to like get my mind off of things, and I like could barely like lift
Mm-hmm.
25 pounds. Like it was just crazy how physically I was reacting to the mental, emotional things that were going on. So I kind of recognized that, and I didn't push through it, which is something I probably would have done like a few years ago. I would have been like, no, like I need to push through. Like I know I can do this. It's all in my head. So I recognized that, and just kind of gave myself grace and was just gentle with that period
Mm-hmm.
of time. And I think it was like probably like that whole month, a month period of time where I just like didn't go to failure on lifts. I just went and did what felt good. And knew that I still need to at least do something to like maintain that, because I knew I would just feel like crap if I just completely stopped. So it was like finding that balance, just like we talk about all the time, like finding the balance, right? Um, and I do think that like I one of the things that I do when I'm faced with um uncertainty or a big change is like I want to like nerd out on how I can fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even
Mm-hmm.
if it can't be fixed, I want to know all the things. Like I need to just dive really deep into like all of the stuff. So literally the night after like the therapy session that I knew it was like for real over, I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw like this course by Jillian Turecki, I think her name is. And it was literally
Because the
a
internet is
course.
listening to your
Yeah.
life, by the way. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's another story. But sometimes I guess it helps you because it puts
Yeah.
things in your path. Anyway.
Yeah. So she had like a heartbreak course and she was selling this course for like courses like an online course like we sell our courses. It's like
Hmm.
$200 and I clicked it and I immediately bought it and just dove right into it and spent like the whole night just listening to her lectures and downloading like the workbook and all of that. And then I started to dive into more books around like heartbreak and grief and like self-help types of books. And still, like every morning right now when I go walk Mia, I put on like an audiobook and I listen to just positive kind of reinforcements, things that just like self-help books. So like the book You're a Badass, that one
Hmm.
I'm reading slash listening to like six different books at once. Um, and that's my way of just like diving into, okay, like I know that like I know I can focus, like if I focused on just all the bad shit that's happening to me and depression and, like all that stuff, it's just going to make me feel
Hmm.
worse. So I've just been focusing on trying to like look at the positives because there's always positives that come out of something negative typically. Um, and this has just been something that like there's new opportunities ahead, and so that's what I'm trying to focus on now that I'm kind of in that acceptance stage, um, and getting back into like some type of routine but not forcing it,
Hmm.
has been really helpful too because I'm still in this period of time where I'm like figuring things out and I still don't even know what like the next I don't know what's next,
Hmm.
really. Um, so yeah,
Well,
that's kind of where I'm at.
I have some thoughts. I mean, first of all, it does not surprise me at all that you and I are such good friends because you again are just like my husband. Like something bad happens and I'm like trying not to cry while I eat like cupcakes and he's just like anxiety cleaning the house and like reading books about it. You know what I mean? Like he's just like
Yeah.
must fix the problem. And I'm just like, I need a cookie. Anyway, I will say I have done exactly this though in other areas of my life. Like we've talked about how with like pregnancy, I needed to know every single thing,
Hmm.
even though some people are like, oh, I'd rather not know and just kind of see where the wind takes me. I'm like, no, I'm going to study every single thing. Um, but anyway, that this concept of like you have to find the silver linings or you have to find positivity in even in shitty situations is so good, not even from like the woo-woo perspective of like it was meant to be. Like sometimes shitty things are just shitty things. Like we don't have to find deeper meaning in everything. However, we are still alive, we are still here, and so we it's our job to go find the silver lining. It's our job to go find the new opportunities and make the best of it because what's the alternative, you know?
Hmm.
So this mindset of like I'm going to do something with this is I think a really strong one for your mental health and for your happiness. And I mean I've seen like I feel like I have seen such a evolution from you just like again being your friend for however long it's been now, like what, 6 years, something like that. Isn't that
Hmm.
crazy?
Yeah,
Anyway,
insane.
say 6 years. And we've had such an interesting friendship where it's been virtual or long distance pretty much the whole time, and it's also been kind of like professional also the whole time. But because of that, because of the nature of our work, you and I probably talk more regularly than like a lot of long distance friends do because we're like,
Yeah,
gotta get on there for work, you know? So we end up just
yeah.
catching up and talking. Um, but because again, you're like a little bit, a little bit younger than me. And so, in slightly different places of life, but not so far away that I don't remember exactly, when you're like maybe going through certain things, I'm like, yeah, I remember what that was like. And just seeing even in the short time that I've seen you, the trajectory from someone who maybe was, and this isn't a judgment thing at all, but maybe a little bit more rigid in their lifestyle and like the different kind of priorities, and then seeing you kind of like grow into somebody who has had more experiences and has had to like roll with punches and like figure things out, and find ways of still growing and being a super fit person and professional, but in a way that maybe is a bit more, I don't know, sustainable or flexible or like better for your life personally. It's really impressive. And again, like I hate to keep bringing this up, but like Alex like listens to our podcast. My husband
Mhm.
listens to our podcast religiously, and he's just like, you guys are so good. And like he has mentioned before that he's like, I feel like Rachel has just like explode, like just she's just like just grown so much, and like I don't know, even the comfort that both of us have being podcasters, like I just feel like there is a lot of growth that maybe you don't always see or notice because you're just living it every day.
Mhm.
So that's my long-winded
Yeah.
way of just saying that you are killing it in so many ways that you don't even know you are, you know?
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. And
Okay, do you want to talk about
mhm.
some not so personal things around grief and mental health? Because I did a little research, I did a
Yeah.
little internet sleuthing, and I mean, you've been like doing courses and books like it's nobody's business, so I'm sure you'll have lots to add
Yeah.
to this. But maybe just some things that our listeners can think of if they are
Mhm.
potentially currently going through something super stressful. Um,
Some
one thing that,
tools.
yeah, some tools. And like one thing that you hit on right off the bat, that again is something that I feel like younger you, younger me, and maybe younger
Mhm.
listeners might be like, whatever, I'm not going to follow this advice, but you should, is this idea of like being gentle with yourself and um, sort of like letting the situation unfold and flow instead of like grinding harder, just being like, maybe I do need to just like let things go a little bit. And by let things go, it doesn't mean eat a pint of ice cream every day and stop working out completely, but it means if you go to the gym and you cannot do it today, that's okay. You'll survive. Go for a walk or something, like just that sort of being a little bit more flexible with yourself, I think is really important. That's kind of a more drilled down thing, but
Absolutely.
I have some stuff written down here. So one thing that maybe people don't touch on or think about too much is that, and I'm sure this is something you have experienced, is acute grief like that, like whether it is like a relationship ending or a death or like even an accident or something, it activates like a stress response. It activates like your immune system, your sympathetic nervous system. Your cortisol is going to spike. Things like inflammatory stuff working in your body is going to spike. Your blood pressure could, raise. Your heart rate could raise. All of these things,
Mhm.
literally physiological responses to stress that can impact your immune system. You can get sick, you can feel sick, you can, all of these things can happen, right?
Mhm.
And, in my research, one thing it was showing is like, obviously, this stuff impacts maybe older people more than younger people, but there's like the, broken heart syndrome effect of like an older couple when someone dies, there's like a significant increased chance that the other one will die like sort of soon around that
Yeah.
time. Like that's real stuff. That actually happens. That's an effect that is a result of grief. That's kind of nuts. So the
100%.
immune stress response kind of angle is a big deal. Is there anything you have to
Yeah.
say about that?
Yeah, 100%. I think, I mean, one thing that, and just being completely transparent, like, I've lost my cycle for
Mm,
the last 2 months. Coming off of the mini cut and even through the mini cut, I was regular with that. And through my reverse diet, I was pretty regular. I was regular. Um, and I wasn't over the last 2 months, I wasn't eating less. I've been eating around maintenance, probably a little bit more on some days, a little bit more, a little bit less. I've ended up just kind of still maintaining my body composition from the end of the reverse diet, maybe a few pounds up just because I had some days that were higher and a day of an ice cream pint and other days that, I was just not really on it. So giving myself grace with that too, but also coming back to that, like I did work so hard to achieve the body composition that was another piece that I was like, I'm not gonna throw this away. Like
hmm
I know that that would make me feel even worse if I just completely let that go after working so hard. Um, in
Yeah.
preparation for the wedding, which is still like something that's kind of insane to me to think
Hmm.
about, but whatever it is what it is. So yeah, like physiologically, have had definitely shifts in probably cortisol has definitely spiked, um, stress spiked, causing me to kind of go into a little bit of survival mode, which you can absolutely miss a cycle or two, period wise, is what I'm talking about. And sleep has been tough. It's been tough the last few months. Again, full transparency. I've utilized. I was prescribed by my primary doctor uh, a small amount of Xanax to help me fall asleep at night, since it was a very extreme period of time that like especially the initial weeks that just like I just wasn't I could not fall asleep.
Hmm.
Um, and so I think that as long as you're being smart about that, you're working with a healthcare provider, working with a therapist through that, that's something that, um, I mean, it's helped me, just
Yep.
helps turn my brain off, and actually get some rest, which is very, very important. We know that that's the start of, sleep is everything. Like if you're not sleeping, you're just going to feel worse every single day. It's going to make everything else so much harder. Um, so that's been something that I've utilized, and I'm kind of weaning myself off of that. And I have a new um, therapist that I'm going to start working with here in New York, in the near future. So kind of that's kind of a big thing that I'm just trying to dial in a little bit more, is like the mental health side of things, and really not just like letting that take a back seat, and understanding that this is a huge life transition and kind of the biggest one I've ever gone through, in that regard. So I want to make sure that I have the tools and support to be able to get through it in the healthiest way, I guess. And what's actually interesting is I have not gotten sick in terms of like a cold or anything like that. Knock on wood. But who knows? I'm sure it's coming. Oh, I can't hear you now, but I just rambled, so hopefully everybody heard me. Um, nope, can't hear you. No, can't hear you. Microphone get unplugged?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, I can hear you now.
No, you are.
Oh, I can hear you, but I don't think it's coming out of your microphone.
Going on?
Now I hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, now I can hear you. Cool. We'll just have to edit
Okay.
out that minute. I don't know what is. It's. I swear to God, it's
Yeah.
using the AirPods. It's been messing me up since this started.
No
Um,
worries. Just want to make
sorry.
sure.
Anyway, was just going to say I was going to follow up with what you were saying. That another point that I have here is cognitive symptoms as a result of grief. So obviously,
It's a little choppy. Hold on one second. And now I can't hear you. I took a note though of the time frame, so he can just cut this out. Can't hear you. I wonder if it's a network thing. Is your Wi-Fi good? No. Oh,
Why?
there we go.
I can't hear you now.
Oh,
Microphone. It's saying microphone is AirPods. You're listening to me through my AirPods instead of this? That
I
doesn't
guess
make
so.
sense.
So
I
audio,
want you to listen.
if you go to audio, it's not letting you choose your microphone. What if you unplug and plug your microphone back in?
Hello, hello.
Okay.
it's
Oh,
the thing
it
is,
did.
it's what I. It's like choppy because it's what I have in the settings. Like I'm trying to. The
I can hear you
microphone should be
now.
the Scarlett, and the speaker should be the AirPods. That's what it is. But
I hear you now. Do you hear me?
And I can hear you, but it's saying I got a thing from
Okay.
Zoom saying your microphone is not working. Please go to settings.
Oh,
But I
it
mean, if
sounds like it's working now though. Like it sounds like
okay.
your microphone, not your AirPods.
All right, Daniel will just have some editing work to do. It's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So I 28 to like 30.
yeah, is that what it was? Okay. I
Yeah.
will like double check the exact timing, but anyway, as I was saying, you were talking about sleep issues. So
Hmm.
physical and then cognitive symptoms, grief, obviously people have major sleep disturbances, they can have insomnia, super tired, your appetite is going to be either like some of us, we binge eat, some people don't eat. You're going to have digestive issues as a result of that. I mean, headaches, muscle tension, like anxiety that manifests physically, you name it, right? Like all of these
Yeah.
things are things that are going to happen. And then to your point, it just kind of exacerbates it because it's like I'm already dealing with this terrible thing in my life. And now, oh, I've got like digestive issues, or now I have like brain fog because I can't sleep. Like it just, and it's
Yeah.
so hard. It feels like it just piles up and it, adds to your stress, which is the last thing you need.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, you know, even like you said, just like kind of growth over the years too, like even thinking about, taking Xanax or something like that, 2 years ago, I've been like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't need that. That's, whatever. But now I'm like, I'm, it's been the one thing that's helped me
Mm-hmm.
to wind down. And, on an as needed basis, there's nights that are worse than others in terms of just like where my mind goes, right? You can't really
Mm-hmm.
um, to some extent control that, and you can to some extent control it too. So doing like what I've been doing a lot more of is just like nighttime kind of evening routine practices instead of just like mindlessly watching TV, reading before bed, kind of making sure that I feel comfortable in my environment. I bought some of these because I'm sleeping in my sister's room, old room, because it's now the guest room. My room is here. It's an office
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom had these lamps and they had like the really bright, like white light bulbs. So I bought some of those amber light bulbs on Amazon. They were like $10 for two of them, and they're
Mm-hmm.
just the orange light. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like a very like soft orange light. So I put that on at night while I'm reading, just kind of like trying to set myself up for success as best as possible. Um,
Yeah,
it's been like
I
100 degrees in Manhattan the last 3 days. So
It's actually been that hot here too. That heat dome is
yeah,
affecting everybody. It's wild.
yeah.
I changed out my regular lamp in my bedroom for a salt lamp when the baby
Mhm.
came because I'm like, if I'm going to be turning a light on multiple times a night, I can't be turning on like a regular lamp. It has to be
Yeah,
like warm, like amber
yeah,
glow, and it definitely does help. It's much less
yeah,
jarring. So, yeah, little things.
yeah,
Um, but I do think there is something to be said about doubling down on a routine because, you and I think, have talked a lot about routine and consistency, obviously, on this podcast. And that's going to manifest differently for some people. Some people being ultra anal about a routine is maybe not conducive to their best health. For some people, they literally need it to feel their best, whatever. But I think in a time of turmoil, whatever it is, being able to fall back on routine can really save your health in a lot of ways because, again, it goes back to this not having to think about it or make the decision. Because if you're stressed about something else, you don't have the bandwidth to decide to go to the gym 3 days a week and what am I going to do, or decide to meal prep and make some food, or decide to go to bed at a reasonable time. Like you're not going to want to think about these things. But if it's routine and you
yeah,
can kind of stick to it, um, that will help. So I think that makes
yeah.
sense. Um,
Yeah, 100%. Like I'm now back into like my gym routine of going around the same time that I was used to, which is like kind of the one thing that I'm definitely holding on to with that now that I can actually like my nervous system is not in
mhm.
survive like fight or flight 24/7 anymore.
Yeah.
So that's felt good. And then kind of like a little bit of a new routine of like waking up. This is something that's been interesting to me is that when I moved, ever since I got to New York, I've been waking up so early. And you'd think
Mm,
it was like the opposite because of the time
mm,
difference. But like even this the first day I got here, I've been waking up at like 5 a.m., which is like 2 a.m. Pacific time. And I think it might just be because like the days are longer. So, even though I
yeah.
have blackout curtains and I wear an eye mask, your body can just sense, I guess,
Yeah.
the light. So been waking up super early, like out of the house before 6 a.m., going on a walk on the East River with Mia, um, bringing her to the dog park, and just like really just kind of like enjoying that and
Hmm.
listening to books and trying to just like slow down a little bit. I think that's like a big thing that's helped is just like having slower mornings than when was used to before. Um, and
Maybe
also
you
just letting
could,
myself, oh, sorry.
no, no, go ahead, finish your thought.
I was just gonna say the last thing I was to say is just like really letting myself like feel the feelings and not trying to, and that's a big thing that I've everybody has told me and that I've been reading in all my books is not trying to suppress or like ignore the feelings. When when you have the urge to cry, just cry. Don't try to hold back. I think that's also helped me to kind of like work through it versus
Yeah.
delaying the healing part of it. So
Yeah. That's very
yeah.
difficult. I have a hard time with that one.
No.
It might be nice if you could like just so we could put in the show notes, share some of the books that you're reading, some of the
Hmm.
podcasts that you're listening to, because people might be listening to this and being like, yeah, what are you taking in? What's
Yeah.
helpful? And then we can share that with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, do you want me to say a few?
Yeah. I mean, if you've got some off the top of your head,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the book, I'm sure you've heard of it, You Are a Badass by
Yeah.
Jen Sincero. That one I've been reading and also listening to because with Spotify, if you have the premium version, you literally have like all of the audiobooks for free. Some people
Nice.
don't know that, so
Hmm.
pro tip there. If you pay like I think I pay like $10 a month for premium, you get a ton of audiobooks. Like every audiobook I've searched, I have it on Spotify. So
Nice.
just go to audiobooks and search. So that one's been one. Uh Brianna Weist, she has a lot of great kind of like short essays. So one of the books, This Is How You Heal. It's like a bunch of kind of like short, like each chapter is, like for example, when you're ready to change your life, read this. 47 ways to practice micro healing in your everyday life. Like,
Hmm.
um, the 8 phases of deep personal transformation. Like every chapter is like 4 to 10 minutes of just basically like telling like just talking you up and like giving you a lot of positives. What else do I have here? Another one by Brianna Weiss, 101 essays that will change the way you think. Another one by her, The Life That's Waiting. Um, what else? We Can Do Hard Things by Glennon Doyle. Loving What Is by Byron Katie. I don't know if that's how you say it. Um, and then there was another one. Let me just see one more because this was one that I finished listening to it, but it was um I'll find it and we can put it in the show notes. I posted it on Instagram and it's in the other room, but I'll get it for the show notes. Oh no, I can't hear you again. Maybe take out your AirPods. Can't hear you. This is 39. Can't hear you. Uh, why don't you try unplugging the mic again one more time? Because that worked last time. No?
Hello.
Hi, I can hear you.
This is such a good podcast, so I really don't want it to be completely fucked, but I'll just have to, I'm gonna like listen to it back through and then just pick the parts that we have to cut because it's
Okay.
annoying. Also, we're gonna have to like get it. I can hear her screaming upstairs, so I just have to be maybe we don't have to
Yeah.
cut it like right now, but like I got to be mindful of that. Um, okay, something I was gonna say. Here we go. Clap. Another piece when I was doing my research is this concept of accelerated biological aging with grief. So again, sorry guys, this is a bit of some bummer information, but it's just useful stuff. It's saying a Columbia University study found that losing a close relation was associated with biological age acceleration of, like a year or something. But it's
Mhm.
basically saying, generally speaking, it looks like losses, like significant loss or grief in adulthood, as you get older, is strongly linked to faster aging and health decline. So what that may just mean is sort of a lot of the symptoms associated with aging. You're kind of like fatigue and tired and achy and sore, and you start getting sick more often, and all of those things. Like that stuff can be sort of accelerated or exacerbated by grief, which is something interesting to
Yeah.
think about.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And then, of course, what we've already been talking about, behavioral changes. I mean, this is probably the biggest and most obvious thing for most people is that something bad happens to you, and the vast majority of us do not turn around in 24 hours and say, okay, well, business as usual. I'll just deal with this as I continue to live life completely as normal. Most of us have reactions that we seek out either, numbness or pleasure or distraction or whatever to try to get through something that's really difficult. And a lot of times that can be kind of self-destructive behavior. I mean, that can be on a wide range. Like that could go from, drugs and alcohol to I'm just eating too much ice cream or whatever. There's a whole
Yeah.
range of stuff that can happen there. But and even to the point of, what you were saying, you kind of double down on trying to fix things or like, you know, potentially to your detriment, over controlling things or overdoing the other side of it, like trying to be too productive and like distracting yourself from the pain with like things that are good, but too much and not letting yourself get through it. Like there's a lot of ways that you can basically change your behavior in a negative way during stress that is going to adversely affect your health, even when you're trying to do the opposite.
Yeah.
So those are just things to think about. It's very, very normal for people when they experience grief to drink more, to eat more, to work out less, to have worse sleep hygiene. And those are just basic health things. There's
Hmm.
way more ways you can go wrong. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
knowing that, having that experience, and even like to a certain extent, letting it happen a bit because look, something just happened, you need to process, but knowing in your head, like this is a normal thing, this is what people do, and let me do what I can do to kind of get back to my healthy routine and get back on the wagon in a way that mitigates all the negative things that are coming out of the situation?
Yeah. No, 100%.
Um,
All
yeah. Yeah.
all of that.
And then just very briefly, we've kind of talked about this, but like coping strategies are a lot of the things that you've been doing, which is taking care of your routine, your self-care, your sleep hygiene, nutrition, exercise, mindfulness, however that shows up for you. Potentially medical intervention, whether it's something like getting a prescription or seeing a therapist or,
Hmm.
whatever it is. And then another thing that I think you're doing, and a lot of people don't do this is something I have a really hard time with is social support. So when you're
Mm.
super stressed out, it's good to reach out to people who care about you and who you care about to
Hmm.
just help you and to show that they're there and to feel like you have a support system. These are all
Yeah.
things that we should be doing. Um,
100%.
so that's it. So I'd love like, I mean, we could obviously go way deeper into this, but as I said, offline here, I can literally hear my current source of stress, my 4-month-old screaming upstairs, and I'm the only one who can get her to stop it. So I have to
Mm.
go deal with that. Talk about raising your blood pressure. But I would love to hear like feedback from anybody, if you're listening to this and anything's resonating with you, if you think that there's like something big that we haven't touched on at all, like we'd love to hear it and we can maybe talk about it in an upcoming episode. If there's anything you want us to discuss more directly, we'd love to hear it. And you can email us. So you can do that. You can send us an email at musclescienceforwomen@gmail.com. That's number 4. And we'll get back to answering some questions in some future episodes. And then we just kind of got to end this real quick because finally the cat's out of the bag. We have a new program and people can people can join in and take part in our fit pregnancy specialization program, which we are so excited to finally get out. It's been that real labor of love because it took a lot longer than we maybe had initially planned because one
Yeah.
of us was really struggling this winter, really struggling. We could talk about
Life
the
happens.
depression that, yeah, the issues that come from being pregnant and postpartum in another episode. But anyway, we really worked hard on this program. I feel as someone who is literally using it and still in the middle of all of this and who was working on this program during my pregnancy, I feel like it really just hits the spot of a lot of insecurities and questions and confusion that pregnant women have about training
Mhm.
and how to be effective and efficient and safe training while they're pregnant. I think that the program will be really helpful for people, and I'm really excited to get some people going through it and giving their feedback.
Yeah.
Um, but sign up,
It,
and if you're a
yes.
first responder, email us and we'll get you a discount.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I can't wait to see some fit pregnant ladies going through that program.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited. And we'll put all the info in the show notes.
Yes, yes, you can sign up now. And maybe we'll do like at some point we can do like a episode all about the program and kind of just like dive into the details because
Hmm.
people, will want to know exactly what they're getting. But we
Yeah.
do have, the page that explains everything. So it should be,
Hmm.
I think it's enticing. I think it's, very,
Yeah.
I think it's very thorough. That's one thing. Anybody who's taken our programs, one thing you get from us is thoroughness. We don't just send you
Yeah.
off with a program saying, hey, do this in the first
Yeah.
trimester. We over deliver on
Yeah.
the information side of things. So I think folks will be happy with it. But we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see what the feedback is and we'll take it from there.
100%. Cool.
All right.
All
Well,
right. Go
it was
take
good
care of
chatting
your
with you.
kid.
And yep,
Yeah.
we'll both go back out and try not to melt and take care of ourselves the best we can by, not doing stupid shit.
And try not to be insane.
Try. Try is the operative
Try.
word.
Try.
All right. Until
All
next
right.
time. Thanks, guys.
See ya.